Hello, I'm Rebecca, and this is Your Bourbon Journey. Welcome to episode 30 of Thirsty Thursday Cocktails. Wayne and I just got back from a fabulous trip to Kansas City, where we enjoyed a lot of great barbecue. Look around, you might be seeing a hint here, and some great distilleries in the area. The first place we stopped at was Holladay Distillery. Now, we've loved Holladay Distillery for several years and finally got to do a tour there, which was really exciting. You can check out yesterday's video to see more about that, and I'll put a link at the end of the cocktail video. It inspired me, with all the great barbecue that we had, to perhaps use the spirits we got in Kansas City to make a barbecue cocktail. So today, what I've been playing with for a few days, and we think we finally have it nailed, is the Smoked BBQ Sour. And I think this is going to be really fun because lots of times I'm looking for something to have with barbecue and it's hard to find that right match. So let's talk about some of the ingredients that we're going to need. Of course, we're going to need a bourbon. So I've selected the Holladay Rickhouse. It's really a foolproof, it's over 120 proof bourbon that's going to stand up really well to the other flavors we're going to use in this cocktail. I'm also looking for things that are going to bring forward what I would do when I'm preparing like a brisket or a Boston butt to put in the smoker, things I would put on it. One thing is for my sauces, I almost always use some apple cider vinegar. So we will be using a small amount of that. To bring some of those sweet and savory notes forward and always have that balance, we will be having barrel-aged maple syrup. That's going to kind of bring some of those brown sugar notes forward that you normally use when you're making a good barbecue rub. We also have fresh lemon juice because, again, we're wanting to balance everything out. We are going to be using, it's a sour, so we're going to be using the fee foam. As you know, I enjoy doing that because it's just shelf stable and it's a really easy way to make a sour drink without having the egg whites. Probably the special item that I really had to acquire for this is the Strongwater Bonfire Bitters. I was able to acquire those on Amazon and they are really going to bring some fantastic notes. Now, the other thing I was finding out as I was working on this was that it was really hard to get the quote meat component feel to the cocktail. So ultimately, I decided that I'm going to add some smoked bacon salt, which brings some of those smoky notes, a little bit of that salt, as well as that bacon flavor. And then finally, I'm also going to use one of my over-the-counter barbecue rubs. Lots of times I make up my own barbecue rub when I'm getting ready to do a big smoking project for the weekend, but this is my go-to for quick wings or things like that. So using a bit of that in this as well is probably going to be really fun. Now, what I did ahead of time for just a little added fun was I smoked some cold water. I used my same cocktail smoker that I'm going to use at the end of this cocktail to smoke some water. Then I put that water into some molds and put it in the freezer. So that should give us this nice release of a very light smoke as we drink our cocktail. So that's an optional thing as well. Depends on how much smoke you want to bring to the party. So I do have a shaker for this because it is a sour drink. So normally that would be a shaker, of course, a jigger, and I've got my smoking gun ready for when we get to that point. So let's go ahead and get started and get making this smoked barbecue sour. So I'm going to go in a little bit different order tonight. I'm going to start out with the stickiest thing that's going to be going in my glass because it'll help clear it out as we go, which is the barrel-aged maple syrup. And for this, I am going to use a whole 3/4 of an ounce. And I know typically I'm very light on the syrup, but because of all the other flavors that we're using in this cocktail, I found that it really requires that 3/4 of an ounce to really make things happen. In addition, we're going to use the fresh squeezed lemon juice. That is a 1/2 ounce. And if you're a little shy about using the apple cider vinegar, you could probably go 3/4 of an ounce of the lemon juice. But because I'm pulling this apple cider vinegar in, I'm going with a 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. And then a bar spoon of the apple cider vinegar, or that's also about 1/8 of an ounce. Since I got my glass here, I'm going to go ahead and do the 1/8 of an ounce here. There we go. Now I'm kind of ready for the bourbon. Now we're using the Holladay bourbon. This is 120 proof, so it's going to give us a little bit of a kick, which is going to be really nice. We're going to use 2 full ounces of this. And 2. There we go. That's going to give us some great notes on this. Now let's move along to our bitters. We're going to use 5 full dashes. I started out with just 3 because anytime you're adding a bitter, you want to experiment and see how many you want. You can always add more, but it's really hard to take some away. So 5 is what I'm going for. 5 dashes of the Bonfire Bitters. And then I almost always use 5 dashes of the Fee Foam because I want to get some nice silky textures. Now for the smoked bacon salt, that's good and loose. I'm going to use a pinch, and I'm just going to use this a little bit on the edge of my spoon because you don't need a ton of this, but just about like that. Just a pinch of the bacon salt. And this is yummy bacon salt. I actually got this at Limestone Branch Distillery. Imagine that. And then for the rub, again, a pinch of this. You don't have to have a lot of this. It's just to impart that feeling that you get when you bite into a great piece of smoked barbecue. It's about the same amount that we used for the salt. There we go. And I believe we've used all of the ingredients. So now we're going to go ahead and shake this up, get it emulsified, and get it nice and chilled. So let's do that. That's feeling really cold to me. Looks good. I'm going to strain it into our cup, our glass that has that smoked ice in it already. So we're going to do that. You can see some of those spices coming through, which is just fine, but some of the smoked bacon salt did dissolve quite a bit. That aside. So next thing we want to have happen now is we're going to smoke it. Now I have selected a cherry wood. Any type of wood would do, but I kind of like, even when I'm smoking, especially like pork, which is kind of what I went with my flavors here, I really enjoy a cherry wood. So we're going to smoke that here. And these smokers are really fun. I love this one because you could smoke it 1 glass at a time. You don't feel like the whole room is smoky. It's really filling the glass in a lovely way. Just let that kind of sit and get nice and smoky. And as soon as we get that open, I did prepare some Brûléed lemon slices. So I sliced lemons really thinly. Then I added a little bit of sugar, a dash of black pepper, because you know sometimes we get black pepper on the back notes of our bourbon, and a little bit of smoked paprika. So these lemon slices are going to be amazing. So look at that. We got the smoke coming out. I'm going to add this luscious Brûléed lemon slice. Ooh. And I'm telling you right now, I feel like I'm in a smokehouse because it's just smelling really great in here. I've got the sweet and sour notes going on, and I haven't even gotten my nose near it. Let's see how it's smelling. When you walk into a great barbecue restaurant, that's kind of what it's reminding me of. Well, cheers to the smoked barbecue sour. Let's see if we can have our barbecue in a glass. Yes, we are having barbecue in a glass. I'm picking up each of these things. It's really interesting. And it turned out just like it did when I was playing with the mixology of it for the last couple of days. Really important, if you've been a little hesitant, go ahead and do that little bit, that little 1/8 of an ounce or a bar spoon of the apple cider vinegar, because that's just a little bit deeper and more complex than just using lemon juice. But you could, again, sub just all lemon juice. I'm feeling that sweetness from the barrel-aged maple syrup, and that's giving some smoky notes as well. Of course, the bonfire bitters are fantastic, and the Ben Holladay Rickhouse proof bourbon is really pulling its weight. It's giving this great feeling that I'm sitting in Kansas City again, enjoying some barbecue and having a fantastic cocktail. So are you adventurous? Do you want to try this smoked barbecue sour? I sure hope you will. If you do, please leave a comment for me and let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you like having barbecue in a glass. And we're going to be doing some Ode to Kansas City distilleries over the next few weeks. So be sure to join me next week to see what we might be doing. Always drink responsibly. Have a fantastic Thirsty Thursday, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.